Welcome to the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast, sponsored by Redwood Living. Thank you for joining us today. I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. You can learn more about Voices for Voices on our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel at Voices for Voices, or also on our website at voicesforvoices.org. Voices for Voices is a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization, otherwise referred to as an NGO, a non-government organization. And we survive solely on donations. So if you are able to, please consider heading over to voicesforvoices.org to help us continue our mission and the goal and dream of mine to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. Or you can also send a donation to the mailing address of Voices for Voices, and that's at 2388 Beckett Circle, Stow, Ohio, 44224. Or you can also find us on the Cash App at Voices for Voices. Are you or somebody you know looking for a volunteer opportunity? If so, you can reach out to us today via our email at president@voicesforvoices.org. Now, I founded Voices for Voices to provide a platform for folks to share their stories with others as we work to break the stigma around mental health, accessibility, and disabilities, helping people get the help they need while also helping them prepare or transition into the workforce with the Voices for Voices Career Center, where we connect talent with opportunity for both job seekers and employers alike, from coast to coast and in every industry and job level. And who can forget about merchandise? The Voices for Voices merchandise shop is up and running at voicesforvoices.org/shop, where shipping is always free, and again, all donations are 100% tax deductible. In today's episode, we are absolutely thrilled and grateful to have our guest with us, joining us from somewhere around Kyiv, Ukraine. And he's going to talk to us about his experience, both on the business side and then transitioning over on the military side. And then what his department, his area is focusing on, that once all areas of Ukraine are liberated, that there is still work to be done. Infrastructure needs to be rebuilt, areas need to be demined, and our guests will speak more to that. But it was just really eye-opening to me as I was doing research for today's episode to learn about kind of that holistic process that goes into what unfortunately is happening. And I just missed being able to talk with our guests in person, spend 6.5 days in Kyiv, Ukraine, but really thrilled that he's able to join us today. So joining us from somewhere around Kyiv, Ukraine, is Mr. Oleksii Chuiev. He is in the State Special Transport Service of the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. His education stems from the National Technical University of Ukraine, the Kyiv Polytechnic Institute. He has a world of experience, literally. He wants to be happy himself, and one of his organizations, that's the goal. So I can see how the translation into the work he does really fits him. So Oleksii, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you that you invite me. It's an honor for me to be one voice from Ukraine.
Absolutely. For our audience and for really anybody, they're checking out the transcript, if they're listening to this episode, they're viewing it on TV, on YouTube, across the world, what do you do in a high level sense? Yeah.
Yeah, let me just explain who am I, because I'm 46 years old. I'm a father. I have two daughters, 7 and 10 years old, and many years, maybe 20 years, I believe in two things, and I'm passionate about this. One is happiness, and I'm a promoter of the happiness in Ukraine. We organized the International Day of Happiness many years to promote more happy Ukrainian people inside Ukraine. And my other passion is help companies to build trust and to build reputation. I'm representative of Boston-based consultancy named Reputation Institute. I work more than 20 years as a consultant, and now as a teacher. I teach top managers to build trust inside organization. And if you asked me 2 years ago, that's one day I'll be a soldier, just soldier, even not an officer, because I don't have experience in military. My experience is zero. I think that you are crazy. But when the war started, I spent 2 weeks to secure my family in the west part of Ukraine. And after that, I just go as a volunteer in army. And first time when I took a weapon in my hands. But I understand that's my most experience in life. It's connections, it's communications between people. It's build trust in military organization, and I start to organize communication inside our small union, and after that, biggest one. And 6 months later, I go to Kiev and have visit our main commander of our organization, because our organization is a huge military formation, more than 20,000 soldiers around whole Ukraine. And now I help our both generals to build a vision of organization and to build communication with our global partners from United States, from Canada, to in 3 directions. One is demining of Ukraine, another is engineering of Ukraine, in rebuilding of our military infrastructure and civilian infrastructures, bridges, dams, and so on. That's why I'm just a senior soldier, but I put all my experience of my life in military, not just a soldier, like a communicator, like a diplomat, like a businessman, like a consultant, and it's really work. And I believe that's why Ukraine wins this war right now and win the final battle, because a lot of soldiers and officers have huge experience, not in military, have a huge experience in life, in their mind, in their business, and it's a flexible mining help us to do something that's our enemy even not imagine how we can do it.
Thank you. Around demining itself, can you talk about the importance of that from, I guess, the one perspective that there's multiple perspectives, but the one I'm thinking of is farming. And so there's crops that need to be planted. It takes time to cultivate, harvest them. Can you explain if there are mines built into those areas where individuals are trying to make a living, to go back to a sense of normalcy, how important that is and what demining is for those that might not understand?
It's not like demining that, maybe in Afghanistan 30 years ago, because the war in Ukraine, it's the world don't see this type of war many years. And when we are talking about demining, it's not just about mine that's our enemy put in the ground. It's about a lot of very different kind of weapons, bombs, rockets, and so on. Modern few hundreds types of different mined. But demining, we have two types of demining. One is demining in front line, and another is demining in deoccupied territories. Our military formation responsible for demining of the occupied territories, and our Minister of Defense focusing on this maybe just 6 months ago when we start to free our huge cities like Kharkiv, like Kherson, and after that our commander decided to build huge military formation of deminers. For example, maybe 6 months ago we have a few hundreds of the sappers and deminers. Now we have an order to build thousands of sappers and deminers, and we have huge negotiations with international donors about specific mechanical machine for demining and some robots, some specific drones. It's a huge challenge for Ukraine for 100 years.
Thank you. As you were talking about your business experience, your communication, your diplomatic experience, and how you're weaving that into the work that you continue to do, I think that's also important for maybe students to understand that. As being an instructor here in the States, one of the questions that gets posed to me is, when I go to apply to a job, I'm just a student, I don't have the experience, I don't have this particular skill or that skill. But what I try to convey to them is that they have a lot of those skills already, whether it's teamwork, giving presentations, they're transferable skills. And that's why I think it's really helpful the way you explained that the work that you've done in the past has really set you up to where you are today, and that it's possible to
Absolutely.
to really take those skills and move in a different direction, but still be true to kind of yourself and your mission as an individual.
Absolutely. Because you don't have time, you don't have choice to to make a decision. You just should remember what experience do you really have, how we can use it. And communication, it's maybe number one in time of war, because you should how you communicate. It will help to save lives for you and for your friends, for your team. In the war communication, I think it's number one experience and skill.
Sure. What is life for you like today? How much, I guess it's just like as a percentage of your time spent on military activities versus diplomatic and interviews and those, just to get a level of like, okay, what your day looks like.
I'm so sorry, but now my day looks like not so perfect, because three weeks ago I did operation in my leg, and now I recovering in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh.
It's not so huge problem, but now I'm my day. It's maybe I can tell you a few words about my day 2 months ago.
Yeah, please.
Because as I told you, from one side I'm a soldier, but from other side I have a huge communication with the generals, with colonels inside our organization, and I'm responsible for communication with our international partners from Canada, from United States, from Great Britain, and I have the job what I should do per day as a soldier. Yeah, but it's usual. But more important, it's communications with different officers, with different levels of people, and it starts early morning and it's finished maybe in nine in midnight, because we finished. That's why I have a lot of communications, and most important, communication between people, not between institutions. Sorry, do you hear me?
Yeah,
Because I think.
it cut out a little bit, but I can hear you for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, but most important, that my experience helped me don't see the borders inside out. For example, of Finance of Canada. I just a soldier and the Minister of Finance. You see the huge distance.
Right.
But my experience told me that I'm Ukrainian soldier and I need to find this woman. I need to organize meeting and to give a message for her about the mining, and I organize this meeting. And I find the people who know her and who help me to organize this meeting personally. That I strongly believe in personal trust between people. If I know somebody who know Minister of Finance, I just have to shake hands to organize meeting with this person, because as I told you before, I work many years in reputation, in trust, and I have my own scale in trust from 0 to 10. And if I in war, you should trust people. You should find people whom you can trust in 9, because for me 10 it's God, trust for God. But 9 is trust for people whom you're ready to trust your life. In war, it's not. It's real trust between people, and I every day I organized maybe hundreds of communication between people who really help, who really want to help Ukraine. It's professional soldiers or officers or retired soldiers who says, Oleksii, we cannot fight for Ukraine, but we can fight with Ukraine in our country to help promote Ukraine or to help with right connections. Trust is very important.
It is. How can people help? How can they find out about the work that you do to help with some of really in any way that they can? If they're not able to help boots on the ground, maybe they are a leader of an organization and they would like to help. What would be kind of the best way or best ways that you could recommend?
My recommendation is really find good guys. If it will be a soldier like me, it's okay. If it will be some officers or some organizations that you can trust, but you can, um, uh, yeah, maybe it will be the best experience of my life. As I told you, I believe in happiness more than 20 years, and I believe in reputation, in trust. It's my core values. It's my experience. It's my life, and it's all my communications. If somebody work in PR management, in reputation management, this guy have the same passion as me, and if you can find inside Ukrainian army soldiers or officers who have the same interest as you can find not the person whom you can help. I don't know, with money, with some equipment or some, I don't know. But you can find the person with whom you will be happy to meet after the victory. And believe me, you can find very good friends very good, I don't know, maybe mentor or maybe spiritual guys who will inspire you in the future, or maybe you can find a partner to do business with Ukraine. That's my recommendation. Find inside Ukraine people with the same passion as you have. It really help you to trust these people, this guy, and it will be long-term relationship between US and Ukraine, or Canada is Ukraine. It helped. It worked in my life many years, and now it's work very 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 good.
Thank you. You talk about happiness and trust. The happiness side is maybe thought of more like the emotional, what makes me happy, the things that I do that I feel that there's value in what I do, helping others. Can you talk to that just a little bit on that emotional side of it, how that makes you feel, and all the work that you do, that you're helping, whether you're on a call, whether you're shaking hands, whether you're communicating, how that makes you feel and how that really fuels you to continue on as an individual, as a soldier, as a father?
Yeah, yeah. As a father, it may be number one, because if you will ask someday all Ukrainian soldiers, more than 1 million Ukrainian now are fighting for Ukraine. I think that's 100% them thinking about better future for their family and for their children. That's why number one, what make me happy, it's happiness of my children and happiness of my family. And number two, it's connections between strangers. Because if you just donate, I don't know, $100 or $1,000 or just millions of dollars for somebody, organization like United 24, it's a huge campaign of our president, and they fundraise hundreds of millions of dollars around the globe. You just feel that you're part of something big. But if you can find one person and ask this person what this person really needs, it's maybe, I don't know, something very small and very little, just conversation via Zoom or some very cheap, but you will have connections between people. Just trust me, it will help you to feel connections and to feel happiness. And in Ukraine, it's for the last 2 years. It's a miracle, because when I just walking in the street as a soldier in my uniform, all Ukrainians want to help me. Just give me a coffee, just give me a, I don't know, car or something else. And when you give something for somebody, you receive something from somebody. And believe me, you can receive inspirations from Ukrainian soldiers. Whatever with whom you will speak, you will feel it. Because one day I want that a lot of American people come to Ukraine to see not the victim of this war, but the people who win this war, the people who will inspire all world, and you will find the friends in Ukraine after the victory of Ukraine.
Absolutely. And I remember the short time that I was in Kyiv walking, it was a little bit longer walk from the train station to the Holiday Inn. I should have took some type of transportation, but I was able to see a lot. And one of the areas I was able to see was a park for children and kids playing. And those types of things, that children just want to be children, going down the slide, going on the swing, parents out on a sunny day having a picnic, exactly what you're saying, that you want people to come after the fact. You don't just want the relationship to be kind of a transaction only. It's you want people to really be invested in the people, and you really can't beat that.
Yeah, and I think it will be very useful if 1 million Americans people connect with 1 million Ukrainian soldier and just communicate, just organize few Zoom meeting or phone calls. It will help both sides to feel each other and more understand the truth about what happened inside Ukraine right now.
So we just have a couple minutes left in our time together. We've talked on a wide variety of topics. Is there something we haven't covered, or something you want to cover again to have a final takeaway message?
Yeah. I just want to repeat again that you should understand that you should inspire about Ukraine, not just looking how you can give just money for Ukraine or food or weapon or something else. Just feel that millions of Ukrainian people now it's heroes, and you should find and receive some small spirit of this spiritual people, and just see on Ukraine as a victory, people who will win, not the people who like refugees or like people who need help.
Absolutely.
And one day Ukraine will be in top 10 most happiest and most trusted countries. This is my vision, and I think that this is our time to do it.
Absolutely. Oleksii, thank you so much for your time. If you'll stick around after we finish, we'll take a few photos for promo for this episode. It was an absolute blast talking to you, hearing your inspiration, talking about happiness, the future, and I truly hope that our audience, our viewers, our listeners, people checking out the transcript will really buy into that relationship building, not just a transaction with Ukraine. And for myself, being over there, being over in Kyiv just a short time, that was one of the reasons I wanted to go, just kind of to be with the people, to eat at the restaurant by the square, or grab an ice cream. Just small things that are going to help out people with their wages, and again, create that happiness. If somebody's happy serving food or working at a shop, providing a service, that's really what it's all about. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Justin.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us as well. Thank you for your support for Voices for Voices, your support for Ukraine. And again, please dig in and see if you're able to connect with some of the Ukrainian people, some of the soldiers, and create, as Oleksii was mentioning, some of those relationships that can start and then continue long after the war. And as Oleksii said, that Ukraine's going to be in the top 10 of the most happiest countries in the world. So until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, and this has been another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. So until next time, have a great day and be a voice for you or somebody in need.